Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving into one of the most exciting topics for coin collectors and treasure hunters, the most valuable Monticello 5-cent Jefferson nickel ever made. First up, the 1966 Jefferson nickel without a mint mark is a fascinating piece of mid-20th century U.S. coinage, representing a time of transition and innovation in American minting history. Struck at the Philadelphia Mint, this coin came from an era when the U.S. Mint was experimenting with coin production methods and temporarily removed mint marks to discourage collectors from hoarding new coins during the mid-1960s. Your coin, described as being in fine condition with some scratches, is a genuine example of this unique period and carries both historical and collectible interest. On the obverse, the 1966 Jefferson nickel features a left-facing portrait of Thomas Jefferson, the third President of the United States and principal author of the Declaration of Independence. Designed by Felix Schlag, this portrait has appeared on the nickel since 1938 and remains one of the most familiar designs in American coinage. In fine condition, the major features of Jefferson's face are still clear, though there is noticeable wear across the cheek, jawline, and hair. The inscriptions, "In God We Trust," appear along the left rim. Liberty is placed to the right, followed by the date, 1966. The surface of your coin may show light scratches and dull areas, typical signs of age and circulation, yet the overall image remains strong and recognizable. The reverse side showcases Monticello, Jefferson's famous Virginia estate. The building's neoclassical design, with its dome and columned front, remains the centerpiece of the reverse. The word Monticello appears directly below the building, with the denomination 5 cents and United States of America beneath it. The Latin motto E pluribus unum, meaning out of many one, is inscribed above the structure. In fine condition, some of the architectural details, like the steps and dome lines, may appear smooth or faint, but the major elements of the design remain visible. Small scratches and worn areas are common for circulated coins, especially for nickels that have been in use for nearly 6 decades. The 1966 Jefferson nickel was part of a unique period in U.S. mint history, known as the coinage simplification era. From 1965 to 1967, the Mint removed mint marks from all U.S. coins to discourage people from hoarding coins by date and mint location. This means that all 1966 nickels, regardless of where they were produced, appear without a mint mark. However, most of these were actually struck at the Philadelphia and Denver mints. The total mintage for 1966 nickels was an impressive 156,208,283 coins, making it a common issue in circulation. The composition of the 1966 Jefferson nickel is the traditional alloy of 75% copper and 25% nickel, a durable metal mixture that has allowed these coins to survive decades of wear. Unlike silver coins of earlier years, nickels from this period were made entirely from base metals, making them resilient but less shiny over time. Coins from this alloy often develop a light gray or silvery tone, sometimes with darker patches or faint discoloration due to oxidation, what you've described as scratches and a worn color shade. From a historical perspective, the 1966 nickel was minted during a time of significant change in U.S. currency. The mid-1960s saw the United States move away from silver coinage due to rising metal prices, leading to new designs and materials for dimes, quarters, and half dollars. While the nickel retained its composition, the temporary removal of mint marks during these years makes the 1966 issue stand out in American numismatic history. It circulated during an era marked by cultural shifts, space exploration, and economic growth, a coin that quietly passed through the hands of Americans during a transformative decade. In terms of grading, a coin in fine condition, abbreviated as F12, shows moderate wear across all high points but retains clear major design elements. The portrait and Monticello remain easily recognizable, though flatness and smoothing are visible on detailed areas. The rims are full, the lettering is readable, and while there may be surface marks or scratches, the coin still presents as an appealing circulated example. Next up, the 1965 Jefferson nickel without a mint mark is an intriguing piece of American coinage from a transitional time in U.S. mint history. Struck at the Philadelphia Mint, this coin was part of an important period when the mint made significant changes to coin production methods to combat the national coin shortage of the mid-1960s. Your coin, described as having a black color shade in good condition with some scratches, is a genuine survivor of that era. An everyday coin that has seen decades of circulation yet still carries the enduring image of Thomas Jefferson and a glimpse into a historic chapter of U.S. numismatics. The year 1965 holds special importance in U.S. coinage history. During this period, the mint removed mint marks from all coins between 1965 and 1967 to discourage people from hoarding coins based on where they were struck. This was a direct response to a coin shortage caused by collectors saving new issues and silver coins disappearing from circulation due to rising metal prices. As a result, all 1965 Jefferson nickels were struck without a mint mark, even though production took place at multiple U.S. mints. A total of 136,831,380 nickels were produced that year, making it a relatively common issue. In terms of composition, the 1965 nickel was made of 75% copper and 25% nickel, the same durable alloy used since 1946. This combination gives the coin its silver-gray metallic appearance, which can darken to a black or grayish tone over time as the surface reacts to moisture and air. The black color shade on your coin is a natural patina that develops after years of handling, storage, and exposure, adding to its character rather than taking away from its authenticity. From a historical standpoint, the 1965 Jefferson nickel represents an era of change and modernization. It circulated during the early stages of America's space race, the height of the civil rights movement, and a time of major social transformation. Coins like yours pass through the hands of everyday Americans buying gas for under 30 cents a gallon, picking up groceries, or saving their spare change in jars. Each one of these coins carries silent stories of ordinary life during one of the most dynamic decades in American history. In grading terms, a coin in good condition, G4 on the numismatic scale, shows heavy wear, with most details visible but flat. The rims may be weak in places, though the inscriptions and main design elements are still readable. The scratches you mentioned are typical for this grade and don't significantly reduce its collectible interest. As such, marks are part of the natural aging process of circulated coins. As for its market value today, the 1965 Jefferson nickel, without mint mark in good condition with some scratches, typically holds a value of about 0.05, which is equal to its face value. Because so many were produced and survived in circulation, these coins are quite common. In higher grades, such as fine, very fine, or extra fine, the value can range from 0.10 to 0.10. Uncirculated examples with strong luster can bring $0.50 to $1, while mint state coins certified by grading services in MS-65 or higher may reach $10 to $20, especially if they display sharp detail and clean surfaces. While your coin's monetary value is modest, its historical worth is more meaningful. The 1965 Jefferson nickel tells the story of a changing America and the evolution of its currency system. The removal of mint marks during this era makes coins like yours a reflection of a specific moment when the U.S. Mint was adapting to meet modern challenges. Each nick and darkened patch is evidence of decades of use, a coin that served its purpose faithfully while holding a piece of the nation's past. Next up, The 1942 Jefferson nickel with the large date and P mint mark is one of the most interesting and collectible nickels in U.S. history. This coin comes from the early years of World War II, a time when America was deeply involved in wartime production. Because nickel metal was essential for military use, the U.S. Mint changed the coin's composition to conserve that valuable material. Your coin, described as having a black color shade, in fine condition with some scratches, represents an authentic piece of wartime America, a coin that not only tells the story of everyday life during the 1940s, but also of how the Mint adapted to meet the nation's needs during one of the most challenging periods in history. The 1942 P. Jefferson nickel holds a special place in numismatic history because it was the first nickel to use a silver alloy, instead of the traditional copper-nickel mix. The composition for this issue was 56% copper, 35% silver, and 9% manganese, which allowed the Mint to save critical nickel metal for wartime materials such as armor plating and weapons. These silver nickels, often called wartime nickels, were produced from late 1942 through 1945. Because of their silver content, they have a slightly different color and texture than normal nickels, often taking on a darker gray or blackish tone over time, especially when exposed to moisture, exactly as seen on your coin. In terms of mintage, the Philadelphia Mint produced about 57,873,000 of the 1942 P wartime nickels, making it a moderately common coin among the silver 5-cent issues. However, its historical importance and silver content make it popular with collectors today. From a historical perspective, your 1942 P Jefferson nickel circulated during a defining moment in American and world history. It was used by citizens who were supporting the war effort through rationing, buying war bonds, and enduring the hardships of wartime life. Every purchase made with a coin like yours, a newspaper, a loaf of bread, or a bus fare, was part of daily life in a country fully committed to victory. This coin is not only a small piece of silver, but also a small piece of that shared national story. In coin grading terms, a fine condition coin, F12 on the numismatic scale, shows moderate wear across all raised areas. But the key design elements remain sharp and readable. Jefferson's face and Monticello's structure are clear, though some high points are smooth. The edges are full, and the inscriptions are bold. The scratches you mentioned are minor for a circulated silver nickel, and do not significantly impact the coin's collectible appeal unless they are deep or heavy. As for its market value, the 1942 P Jefferson nickel in fine condition with some scratches and a darkened surface is worth around $1.25 to $1.75 in today's collector market, primarily due to its silver content. In very fine to extra fine condition, it may bring $200 to $3, and uncirculated examples with full luster can range from $6 to $10. Certified high-grade pieces in mint state, especially those with brilliant surfaces, can sell for $25 to $50 or more, depending on eye appeal and preservation. Next up, the 1941 Jefferson. Nickel without a mint mark is a classic pre-World War II coin that represents a time when the United States was on the edge of global conflict, but still focused on recovery and progress at home. Struck at the Philadelphia Mint, this coin carries no mint mark, a characteristic that helps collectors easily identify it as a Philadelphia issue. Your coin, described as being in good condition with some scratches, has visible signs of circulation, yet it still holds both collectible and historical appeal for coin enthusiasts today. Turning to the reverse, we see Jefferson's famous home, Monticello, centered prominently beneath the motto E pluribus unum. The detailed neoclassical architecture of the building, with its columns, dome, and steps, represents Jefferson's intellect and love for design. Beneath the structure appear the inscriptions Monticello, 5 cents, and United States of America. On your coin, some flattening of the building, and steps is expected, and parts of the lettering might show light wear. The absence of a mint mark confirms that it was struck in Philadelphia, which produced the highest number of Jefferson nickels that year. The 1941 Jefferson nickel was made from the standard pre-war composition of 75% copper and 25% nickel, weighing 5 grams with a diameter of 21.2 millimeters. This was the last full year before the U.S. Mint began experimenting with silver and manganese in its 5-cent coins during World War II. In 1941, production was strong across all mints as the demand for coinage grew with the recovering economy. The Philadelphia Mint struck approximately 265,000 nickels, making this issue widely available but still desirable to collectors for its age and design. Historically, your 1941 Jefferson nickel holds special meaning. It circulated in an America that was emerging from the Great Depression and moving toward industrial expansion. Though the United States had not yet entered World War II, the economy was already shifting to support defense production. Millions of people carried nickels like yours in their pockets to buy bus tickets, newspapers, and everyday necessities. Each coin was a small but essential part of daily commerce in a country preparing for the massive changes that would come with the war. In numismatic grading terms, a good condition, G4. Jefferson nickel shows heavy wear across the high points. Jefferson's hair and facial features are smooth, and Monticello's details on the reverse are mostly flattened. The inscriptions, though worn, remain readable. The scratches mentioned on your coin are common for a circulated piece of this age, and generally do not greatly reduce its collectible value unless they are deep or disfiguring. The color may range from light gray to darker tones depending on storage and circulation history. Because this coin is from before the silver wartime issues, it does not contain any silver, so its value is primarily based on collector interest rather than metal content. However, early Jefferson nickels, especially those preserved in decent shape, are still popular because they represent the beginning years of one of America's longest-running coin designs. In today's collector market, a 1941 Jefferson nickel without a mint mark in good condition typically sells for around $0.15 to $0.30, depending on eye appeal. In very fine condition, it may be worth $0.50 to $1, and uncirculated examples can reach $2 to $5. High grade, mint state coins with sharp details and luster may command even higher prices when professionally graded by services like PCGS or NGC. Although your coin shows wear and scratches, its true worth lies in its history. It's a surviving example from a pivotal year in U.S. history, a time when the nation was still recovering from hard economic times and standing at the threshold of war. Every mark and scratch tells part of its story, reflecting the hands it passed through over generations. Next up, the 1970 Jefferson nickel with an S mint mark is a fascinating mid-20th century coin struck at the San Francisco Mint, known for its high-quality proof and circulation coinage. This nickel belongs to the long-running Jefferson nickel series that began in 1938, designed by sculptor Felix Schlegel. Your coin, described as being in dirty condition with some scratches, shows clear signs of circulation and age, yet it still carries historical and collectible significance. The 1970 S. Jefferson nickel was minted in two main forms, a circulation strike and a proof version. The proof coins, struck with polished dies and mirror-like surfaces, were intended for collectors and not released into general circulation. However, if your coin shows wear and scratches, it's most likely a circulation strike that made its way into everyday commerce. These coins were struck from the standard composition of 75% copper and 25% nickel, weighing 5 grams with a diameter of 21.2 millimeters. The San Francisco Mint produced about 238 million circulation strike nickels that year. making it a fairly common issue overall. Historically, 1970 was a year of transition in American coinage. The U.S. Mint was moving toward producing more coins at the Denver and Philadelphia facilities, while the San Francisco Mint increasingly focused on proof sets and special collector issues. As a result, the 1970 S-nickel marks one of the last few years San Francisco produced regular circulating coins before becoming a primarily proof coin facility. Your coin, with its dirty surface and minor scratches, has lost some of its original luster but retains full historical charm. Coins in this state often show signs of oxidation, which can create dark or uneven coloring, especially around the edges and devices. These marks and discolorations tell a story of circulation. Perhaps your coin passed through vending machines, shops, and pockets over decades before ending up in your collection. In the world of numismatics, condition plays a major role in determining value. A 1970 Jefferson nickel in dirty but good or fine condition typically holds a modest collector value because of its common mintage. Most circulated examples like yours are worth slightly more than face value, primarily for their collectible interest rather than metal content. The scratches you mention are normal for coins that have been handled for many years, and while they slightly reduce value, they don't erase the historical importance of the piece. In today's market, a 1970 Jefferson nickel in dirty, circulated condition with some scratches generally has a value of about $0.10 to $0.25. In fine to very fine condition, it might sell for $0.30 to $0.50, while uncirculated examples can bring $1 to $2. If it were a proof coin in pristine condition, it could be worth $1 to $3, depending on shine and quality. Coins certified by grading services in higher mint states can command even more, particularly those with deep cameo contrast or bright luster. While its market value may seem modest, the 1970 Jefferson nickel remains a meaningful collectible. It represents the craftsmanship of the San Francisco Mint and reflects a period of change in American coin production. Every scratch and bit of dirt on the surface is part of its story, evidence of a coin that has circulated through the hands of countless Americans for over 50 years. In summary, your 1970 Jefferson nickel, in dirty condition with some scratches, carries an estimated value of around 10 to 25 cents in today's collector market. Though not rare, it stands as a small but genuine piece of U.S. coinage history, a tribute to Thomas Jefferson's legacy and the enduring appeal of classic American design.